Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3, and this is our very special follow-up from Tru Heel Heat 70, where myself, Miss Chrissy Love, and Top Guy JJ pick the mind further of the All Father, wrestling's richest prize, the one and only Darius Carter. A little bit of questions from you, the fans of Tru Heel Heat, from our Facebook page as well as our YouTube channel, as well as questions from us, the hosts. So stay tuned. This is Tru Heels BTR with Darius Carter.
This is where we get in depth with Darius. We ask him any particular questions. Chrissy Love, Top Guy JJ, if you got any particular questions for Darius, this is your time to ask it. But I'll start off because this is Tru Heel Heat. You are one of the best Tru Heels that I know in the business, especially on the independent scene. So how would you say is like if someone coming into the business, yes, someone coming into the business and they ask you, how do I work being a heel in wrestling? What would you tell them if they ask you that particular question? How do you work being a heel?
Man, and it's my favorite thing in the world. I love it. It's more than anyone could ever know. I think some people want to say one's harder, one's easier, and I don't like that argument because I don't think that either of it's easy. I don't think it's easy to be one side or to be the other, because if you're the good guy, right, you have to be open to people. You have to be social in a way. You have to be extroverted in a way, and you have to be open to all these people throwing themselves at you. You have a standard you have to hold up to, and you typically end up being the number one person, okay? As a villain, you have to deal with potential scrutiny and all the stuff that comes with it. You know what I mean? It's a lot of criticism, and a lot of people that don't get that you're doing your job. They really think that you're this way or you're really not good when it's your job to make people believe that. You know what I mean? So it's not easy either way. If I had to make the argument, I'd say being a villain is I would say being a villain is more difficult. If I had a gun to my head and they said choose one, I would say that, because you have to sustain it. You have to adjust your style. You can't do all the cool, flashy things you want to do because you don't want anybody clapping and cheering for you. So you have to find a way to have great mechanical matches without getting people to love your work. And that's not easy to do. You know what I mean? You have to be great without being too visibly great, if that makes sense. Guys like Ric Flair, who were just out there running 60 minutes, but you don't know how great he is unless you're in the ring with him, or unless you've studied his stuff. So if I were, if I was giving someone advice, I would just say stay true to you and just don't be broken by outside interfering factors. Don't let fans break you. Don't let wrestlers break you, because so many wrestlers have been affected by me being who I am. People have created rumors. People think I'm a certain way when they haven't even met me yet. People are like, people have said they don't like me, they hate me, and they've never met me, and they've never had a conversation with me. That's the power of what I do, which it's a good thing, but it's also unfortunate because these are people you could be working with that are kind of biting into it. They're getting worked. And that's kind of, I love that. Part of me really loves that because that means I'm doing my job like exceedingly well. But another part of it is just like, man, that's a shame. Like the guy should know better. You should know better, but it is what it is. Like I said, I have a lot of enemies, and most of my enemies are people that don't know me or haven't met me or haven't conversed with me to know who I really am. So I have a lot of phantom enemies, I call them. Just kind of, so it's not easy, but I would say if you were coming into the business, keep your head on tight, be confident in your persona and your character. Because if you know your persona and your character, nothing can break you from it. I know why Darius Carter would do everything that he does. I never take an action in that ring without knowing why I do it. And that builds me overall, and that allows me to kind of have a firewall against anybody that tries to say otherwise.
So my second part of my question is, as we've seen during this episode of Tru Heel Heat, you're also not only a wrestler, you're a professional wrestling fan. So what would you say is the one element you look for the most in what you would call someone that is a great heel? What's the one element that you just say, okay, this guy is a great heel because of this?
The ability to tell a story. And the ability to elevate your opponent while also elevating yourself. That's something that I learned because I'm my style is very European, catch as catch can, a grappling style that I've emulated, twisting ligaments and fingers and all these other things. But there's a way to make your opponent come out of that match even better than he came in. Flair did it all the time, and I live off of that. I live off of being able to wrestle anyone, whether it's a Barry Windham to a Ricky Morton to to Dusty Rhodes. You want to be able to be in there with anybody and put on an incredible match, no matter what their style is, no matter where their walk of life is from, high flyer, technical, powerhouse. And that is where the power lies for me. You know what I mean? It's not easy to do this. It's not easy to stay like this, to keep that persona in character in a world that's constantly trying to draw other things out of you. What is your political opinion, and who do you like and don't like, and what business would you wrestle in? I've still been able to maintain the Darius Carter persona, which kind of supersedes me in some ways. Again, I've just gotten some crazy hate, and I've gotten some real appreciation and love that doesn't get talked about enough. So it's not easy at all, but the biggest thing I look for if I'm seeing another person that's being a villain, can you get booed, but also do good business for your opponent? Can you make your opponent get cheered more? And can you make yourself look good without hampering your opponent? I've gone in there and there have been some, I make people step up. I make a lot of people step up. I make them active. You're not just going to play the hits with me. I'm not just going to take the, 2 shoulder tackles and here comes this, and then the 5 knuckles, all that stuff. Like, I'm in there. We're going to wrestle. We're going to get in there and we're going to get gritty. Yeah, exactly. You can't, but you in that ring, you can see me. And that's the difference. You know what I mean? So, you have to be able to tell a story, man. I've been playing, or whatever you want to call it, on paper villain for most of my career, majority of my career, for 11 years. And I do that because I'm always building upon it. I still have elements of Darius Carter that haven't been explored the way that I want them to be explored for people to see it. You know what I mean? There's so much of Darius Carter that you haven't seen. So I want to make a career out of this, man. Ted DiBiase made a career out of being $1 million man. When he had to change it up, he changed it up. When it was all right, well, guess what? This year you're going to be doing singles, and then guess what? Now you have Virgil. Now you have the $1 million corporation. And guess what Ted did? He had a career building people up. He built everyone around him up. And that is what helped his legacy last forever. He built Virgil. Virgil is not Virgil without Ted.
Absolutely.
The $1 million corporation. It gave Bam Bam. It gave Tatanka, who had a hot baby, good guy run at the time. He was able to be in that group. King Kong Bundy. It gave people who were kind of drifting and maybe weren't doing as much. You have a purpose now with Ted DiBiase. The Undertaker, the false Undertaker, which was a tremendous storyline. Everyone remembers.
Yeah,
everyone remembers that. The Underfaker. And you're like, who is this guy in the gray? And it was crazy. But the concept that Ted could remake The Undertaker, it goes so much deeper than just that storyline. It's kind of like a shot at certain play, but it was tremendous. And Ted made a full-on Hall of Fame career out of doing that. And that's what I want. I want to be that guy that can build everyone around him. I've had stables where I feel like I did that. The Crusade for Change. It helped TJ Marconi stand out. And these are guys, I love them to death. And I say it to him. It helped TJ stand out because his promos all of a sudden got way better. The man was able to talk himself into persona now. Now he's got the Public Enemy #1. He did that on his own. But what I'm saying is the Crusade helped him develop that voice. Anthony Gangone now, he's gone out. He's done his thing with the Rogue. He's always been a tremendous wrestler. But the character has evolved because of his involvement in the Crusade for Change. So those type of things, we've all grown from that. And that's what I want to make a career out of. I want to have groups. I want to have people, and I want to elevate everyone around me. I want to wrestle your big box money good guy or what have you, and I want to make money with them and go on to the next one. I love that style. So to me, if I was telling someone come into the business and they were looking to do what I was doing, that's what I would emulate. that's what I would say to go after. Just go after the story and make sure you're saying something out there. Don't just get booed, but like make sure that you know why you're getting booed. Give the fans a genuine reason. Don't just say, "Oh, shut up." Like, okay, but why? Why do you dislike the fans so much? What makes you? The why is so important. You can't be a villain without a why. You can't be anything without a why. But you cannot be a sustained villain if you don't have a purpose as to what you're doing. And I always make sure that there's a rhyme and reason, a purpose to what I do. And that's the best advice I could give to someone coming in, a villain or what have you. Just, hey, man, okay, it's great that you want to get booed, but make sure that you know why you're getting booed and you are giving the people a genuine reason to boo you beyond sticking a finger up at them or calling their mom fat, which is so cheap. That to me is lazy. That's lazy. You never seen me. I don't have to go. You could watch all my promos. You don't see me going around saying that this fan is. I don't have to take shots at the fans, at your mother or anything like that. I can hit you in a different way that makes you hate me in a different way. That keeps class, an air of class and dignity to me. Where you almost look at what I'm saying and you're like, wow, like he's kind of telling the truth, but the way that he's presenting it, I don't like. He's saying the right thing, but he's acting in a way that I wouldn't act to get there. That's the type of persona that I always grew up on, that I loved. I love that about Flair, and that's what I like. Again, emulation, and it's my own way. I'm Darius Carter, 110%, but everyone's been influenced by someone, and that Flair mentality of just, yeah, he had the Rolex, the suits, and everything. But guess what? If he had to stick someone's hand in the car door and slam it shut,
he'd do that too. But I love the fact that you're naming all these guys that we can very much see like your influence in them with the Flair, the DiBiase. You said earlier with you used to watch like the World of Sports type of style with Finley and Regal. And honestly, me myself, when I first saw you at Battle Club Pro, I was like, I didn't even see color. It was just, this guy is this generation's Regal, because you just had that aura of just having that smug type of look and just having that aura of being a heel and just being prestigious and just your nose up in the air. It just, you have that all in you, and you can see a lot of the influences of the stuff that you watch in your work. So Chrissy Love, any questions that you got for Darius?
No questions for him. Just when I first saw him at Battle Club Pro last summer, I was just like drawn in the way he like just snapped you down during your interview, and you just like, he just gave you all the business and you just took it all. But it just shows the charismatic character that he is, and he just like had it on the whole time. Even when the camera was off, he was still in his role and he was still giving you the business. Like he didn't really give a shit what you said. And I appreciate that. And I love that. That draws me into being a wrestling fan, the character, the person that tells the story, the person that is embodied by them. And I thank you for being a part of this episode to give the business part of the aspect of everything and giving the other side of things where I can be like, oh, okay, I didn't think of it that way. And I can agree with you on these things, even if it's not what I initially was going into thinking. You made me change. It's like, oh, that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that, and I love that. And I didn't have any questions. I just wanted to say thank you for being a part of this, and thank you for being who you are.
Thank you. And this has been, tremendous. It's been a couple hours, and it's flying by. And I thank you all for having me. I thank you for giving me this chance. I know people can sometimes be big-headed about these things, but like for me, like these things are humbling, man. It's great to talk. It's great to say this, to speak your mind, and I appreciate you for listening. I appreciate you for having an open mind to that. Just like I had an open mind to it too. By all means, we all have the right to feel the way they feel, and it makes me think too. So I appreciate that. It's just we have to stick together in this, and this is the way you stick together: is you have these discussions, you communicate, and you try to make sense of what's coming. And this, to me, is the right way to do it. So thank you again.
I'm so sad that we couldn't do this in person. Damn, Rona. But we will definitely have to do this again in person, though.
We will. Sure.
Tradition every episode to say "fuck you, Rona." Absolutely. Gotta get that one in at least once in a while. Before we get over to Top Guy JJ for any questions he has, we have questions from our viewer, Steve Salvage of the Tru Heels group. He says, who is the best wrestler you have had the opportunity to work with? Darius.
Gun to your head.
Gun to your head. You have to answer.
Wow. You know what? There are a few people that I'll name because every time like I have the chance to wrestle them, it's unique and it's different. And some of the names may shock you because some of them may not be like the most namey of names. But just tremendous matches. God. One of the first people that comes up, you know what? I really would like. I like Killian McMurphy. I've had fun with him at Capitol, and he's a grappler, and that's the style I like. So, like, I like to wrestle guys like him. Steve Pena, who has kind of wrestled for Evolve a little bit, but him and I have had, like, we've had 2 singles matches against each other, and they both, I made it a point. I was like, these have to be different matches. And they were really fun. So I enjoyed working with him. If we want to talk about, I guess, more established people like that, God, who do I really, because I like working with a lot of people. I just want to work with everyone. You know what I mean? Davey Boy Smith Jr., yeah. Davey Boy Smith Jr. was a ton of fun in February. I wrestled him right before this all went down. And we had like a classic. This match, I feel like I'm not trying to, I'm not my own horn or anything, but like we did like a classic match, like, throw the AWA style, just throw a 10 punch and everything. And it was just, I don't know, it was just a lot of fun. And I'd really like to wrestle him again because that was our first time. And I think whenever you wrestle a name or something for the first time, it's going to go a certain way. Like you can't really get everything, not get everything in that you want, but like this person's got to learn about you and know how you wrestle before he's going to feel fully 100% comfortable with you when you're a name that's traveled the world like that. So I understand. And he did have comfort with me. I think if we had a rematch, it would be even better. Killer Cross, I also wrestled back in September for Warriors of Wrestling. That was my first title defense as world champion. That was another very technical, really enjoyable match that I would love to have again because that was our first time wrestling and we were feeling each other out. I would love to, now that we can go all the way in, he's in NXT now, but I would love to have had that chance to wrestle with him again. Austin Theory, who I wrestled last year, actually on March, which was hilarious. Yeah, it's just funny that, I wrestled him in March of last year, and then March of this year, April of this year is a WrestleMania. So the chemistry that we had, and people kept saying it. People were saying it to me. They were like, you guys had like insane chemistry. And I was like, we really did. And it's just like, that's just the mindset. Austin Theory has a tremendous mindset for pro wrestling. And I hope he gets to show that more because he's more than just a body. He's not just a great looking body. The guy has really got a good head on his shoulders for wrestling. I think he kind of proved that in his match with Ciampa when Ciampa beforehand had thrown him barrier to barrier to barrier to barrier. And then when they had their singles match, what did Theory do? Throw him to each. So Theory lost. Theory got beat, but he still got some comeuppance because he ragged. And that you don't see that all the time. You know what I mean? You run a backstage angle and someone's arm is hurt, and then they have a match, and then they don't wrestle, they don't work the arm. And you're like, well, huh?
What was the whole point? Yeah,
the whole point. And that's what I saw in that, and that little thing that Theory's got a great head on his shoulders. That's why he got a WrestleMania opportunity. It wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't just because he has a good body. The guy's got a good head on his shoulders. So I had a tremendous amount of fun wrestling him. Yaya from down south, Montana Black from down south, Riley Shepard, who I just wrestled at BCW. Like I said, man, I just got a Flair mindset. I want to wrestle them all. And sometimes you catch Flair saying, oh, this guy was the best I wrestled, and that guy was the best I wrestled. He says it about multiple people.
Flair says someone different every time he does an interview.
Yeah, because he's wrestled them all, and he's wrestled a lot of these guys 60 minutes, so you can't blame him. You know what? If I wrestled you 60 minutes, 5 days in a week, 5 days in a row, or 6 days in a row, I'd probably think you were really great, too. So it's like, he's like, oh, Sting's the best. Oh, well, Barry Windham. Dusky, but if you have that lineage of people you wrestled, how do you pick one?
It's a very hard question for sure. Top Guy JJ, you have any questions for the All Father? I definitely do. So it's kind of one is a two part. The first one I really just kind of want to know. I kind of find you as the true old school, in your face, just really piss you off heel. So what do you see as like the
Agreed.
breaking? There's like a breaking point because I think that out of all the, with no disrespect to all the African American fellow characters that we got in the business, you are one of the best characters that I have ever laid eyes on, as far as somebody that has a character in the ring that is separate from the person that's outside the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think would have to translate that into the ring to obviously get you to where you deserve to be, which is in the spotlight of a mainstream platform environment?
And that's a good question, because it's not. I don't think that it doesn't translate in the ring. I think that when you see me wrestle, you're getting Darius Carter. You're not getting something that's separate from my character. I'm very careful with, and this is like something I guess I haven't said before or said in a long time, so you got job well done. I'm very particular about what I do. Like, my move set is very selected. It's not like, there's a lot I can do, but would it make sense for me to do it? You know what I mean? And so I don't. You know what I mean? I've springboarded to the top rope before, almost like a Shelton Benjamin style. And I have a great vertical leap because I've had experience. You know, I've had a good experience back in the day with like track and stuff like that. So like, I have a great vertical leap, but it's not always the time to show that, so I don't do it. So it's kind of like making yourself different in your own way. I'm very, very, again, I'm so selective with my moveset, you have no idea how I'm like, would I do this? Oh, it makes sense if Darius Carter did this. Like the perfect plex. I'm like, but I don't know. Am I really, I think of these things all the time. So I don't think that it doesn't translate in the ring. I think when you see a Darius Carter match, I wrestle how you expect me to. I think when my entrance music dies down and the coat comes off and the bell rings, I really do feel like you get the Darius Carter of you get my persona in the ring. I do the things you would expect me to do. I attack the weakest body parts. I attack the hand. I attack the ankle. I'll grab the ear. If you have the hair, you better believe it's getting pulled and I'm dragging you to the other side of the ring. But I'm also smash mouth. I think that if we want to be frank, I think that the reason I don't think that it's my talent particularly that has prevented me from getting all the way ahead. I think that there's a lot of people that have assumed things about me. I think there are a lot of promoters that are afraid of me. And because they don't know me or because they've heard things about me. I think, again, Darius Carter precedes himself. I think my character precedes me. And I think that's really more of the issue. I really don't think it's an in-ring thing. I've gotten a lot more compliments of my ring work lately than ever. It's just, I feel like I get better and better every time I'm in the ring. So personally, I don't feel like that's it. If that is it, then so be it, and I'll have to learn and adjust. But I don't think that's it at all. I think that people have to understand where I'm coming from and not try and pigeonhole me. I think that people have to get a better understanding of Darius Carter and what it is that I do to really be able to judge it. I've had some places, honestly, if we're going deep into it, that were like, listen, I don't see, we want to use you now, but I don't want to just throw you into anything because I know that you're a story guy and I know that we can get more out of you. So I don't want to just put you in this multi-man match. So I feel like you're going to be more of a main event type, but I don't have a spot right now for you. So let's hold off. I've been told that. And then we hold off. And then 6 months later, the promoter contacted me. He was like, all right, here are some dates. Can you do it? Yes, because the time worked out with their roster to have me. I see that as, I actually appreciate that because he valued me. He was like, I don't want to just bring you in just to kind of face a one-off and then be gone for another month. I want to bring you in and build something with you, and I'll reach out to you when I can. And he actually did. There's not a lot of promoters, I guess, that are like that these days, but I appreciated that. I think people sometimes maybe don't know what to do with Darius Carter. Maybe sometimes promoters aren't sure what to do with my character. That's an interesting prospect, but it has come up to me more than once. Where they're like, oh, I'm not sure if I put you here and there. And I'm like, I don't know. I think some people are overthinking it. You put me where you can and I'll make the most out of it. But I'm also appreciative because people have a vision of my character. They have a vision of what I can be. So yeah, I do feel that a lot of it's more political than anything else. I really do. I honestly do. I think it's more political than it is about my talent. But I guess that's something I kind of have to find out or I'll learn in time. But that's what it is, man. To me, some promoters just have their thoughts of me. And I've heard about it through the grapevine. Just some guys like, oh, I hate you. They hate Darius. And I'm like, you haven't even met me. I don't know who you are. You know, because your boy, you know, because your boy is whispering in your ear and your boy is a wrestler. The wrestler doesn't like me for whatever reason because his friend wrestled me or whatever. And now he's whispering in the promoter's ear. The promoter's got a bad stink in their mouth. And no matter how much footage I send you, it doesn't matter because you're not watching it. You're not watching what I send you. You're not reading my resume because you already have it built in your head that I'm this bad guy. And you think that you can, well, I don't need that. I already have a villain that can do what he does. It's like, well, you really don't. But that's the part of the business that's ugly. And I've been going through that. Reputation and stuff. And my reputation got much better. I've worked so hard and taken tours across, you know, to the UK twice. And gotten to train with Johnny Kidd and gotten to meet Mal Sanders and Johnny Kincaid, who were world of sport legends. So like I had to do what I had to do to get to myself to where I am today. What gets me to the next level is just being in front of the right people at the right time and the right person saying yes, and then I'll be okay. I think that's where I'm at. I don't think I'm so far off. I think that I'm not going to say I'm close, but I think there's something there for me. It's just a matter of who chooses to give me the chance. I think the people are scared to give me a chance, man, because of things they thought they heard. Give me a chance. I am the most loyal person. You know, when it comes to wrestling, you can ask Joe Bellini, Warriors of Wrestling. You can ask Joe Akeem with Battle Club Pro. You can ask Anthony Cole at BCW, at B Combination Wrestling, which is why I've been champion for over 500 days, world champion. Because I'm committed to the brand, I'm always promoting it. And if I have a newspaper interview or a podcast or anything, I always mention the places that have done right by me. BWO, I trained there in 2008. I just posted a picture a couple days ago on Instagram about I'm always trying to give back to people that have given back to me. And I think that if a promoter really just stops listening to whispers and really just gives me a chance, I think that will be the day where they'll be like, oh, my goodness, you know, I should have done this, you know, from the beginning. Killer Cross did that. When we had our match, Killer Cross came into the match and he was like, I don't know. And he didn't say this to me, but I just heard, you know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I've heard this about him and that about him. I don't know. And then we had the match and he was like, hey man, like people don't get it. I get it now. People don't get it. People are consumed by your persona that they don't know anything beyond it. And it felt great for him to tell me that. He was like, it was a great match. He's like, I really enjoyed it. And he's like, you're working people and people are getting worked by it. And I'm just like, oh.
honestly, it says a lot about your commitment, honestly, that people get worked by the whole persona. That's what it says the most to me.
That's what I was taking out of it. I was like, damn, you're that good at your character that even the people that is within your promotion is getting worked by how you act. I was like, that's just insane. Like, they should know the person that they're interacting with is going to be a different person than the person that is going to be facing the limelight and is going to be putting this company on the spotlight to make them a better entity altogether. So I would just kind of, that's why I was like, I don't think that what I meant is obviously your talent and then your persona, they don't not show. Is that obviously we're in 2020 and clearly you just displayed and said how sensitive people are because they're describing your kayfabe character as somebody that is who he is in real life. and it's like, that's insane because they're working directly with you. You go in there probably with the suit, with the turtleneck on it, then you change it to the All Father. So they see who you are, which is like mind-boggling.
But it's the wrestling world that we're living in for
But
sure.
this leads to my second question to you.
Okay, go ahead.
How the hell do you deal with SP3 as a person?
What? How did this become a part of me?
JJ couldn't let it go.
Well, listen, man, and let's be frank, man. In the world of The Walking Dead, man, there's zombies, and if you aren't able to deal with a zombie, then you're gonna die. And all I can say, man, is SP3, which is interesting, very interesting. You know, I look at it. I look at it like special person 3. Almost like special person.
I am special. I am special.
You're a special person cubed. Basically, that's what that 3 is. It's a small 3, and on the top right, the syntax error. You put that in the calculator. Syntax error. Return the calculator to the store. It doesn't work anymore. No, but listen, man.
You're welcome, Hills.
Yeah, listen, man. At the end of the day, you're a squirrel trying to get a nut. And you know what I mean? And whether or not you're on the right tree, whether or not whether or not you even know how to bury that acorn, you know what I mean? But no,
hey,
but
I got twins. I know how to bury that acorn.
Wow.
There it is. All right, now.
Wow.
All right, now. Say your piece, man. All I'm saying is
You feel like when it's wax, son.
I'm not gonna flack you too much on here because I'll save that for in person. I like to keep it real.
I appreciate you.
So I'll keep when I see you, I'll put you in the kitchen. We'll get it. We'll see what's going on. We'll see the sweat drop from the brow, and
Final 2 questions. First from our viewers, Nick Jackson. He asks, which is the one wrestler you haven't worked with that you would like to work with in the future?
Mako Satomura. How's that?
I love it.
I would love. Everyone's like, "What's your match? What match do you want to do?" And anyone who's asked me that, I've told the same thing. I want Mako Satomura so bad. One of my favorite matches was Mercedes Martinez, who I guess I got to come back to that. She was tremendous in the ring, and then I watched her and Mako, and I already was familiar with Mako's work.
That was my favorite. I just want to say that was my favorite match from the Mae Young Classic 2018 by far. Mako Satomura versus Mercedes Martinez by far.
Money, the scorpion kick, everything. So if you say that, like who I want to work, I 100% want to be in the ring with a woman like that or a wrestler like that. Period. Mako Satomura. I wish there were more male wrestlers with that type of commitment that she has to herself and to her character, to her ring work. I would love to wrestle her. That's definitely my go-to match of anyone that I have not yet faced. I guess if I'm going to go on the male side of things, and who I like to wrestle, there's a lot of people. I've wrestled Matt Riddle before, and that was a really, really fun match. But I'd love to wrestle him now because I feel like we've both developed. I mean, he's got more things going on, and I have more things. So I would love to wrestle a guy like that. Just tremendous, grade A talent, man. But I guess Mako Satomura is a little more possible at this time. But
I like that. I like that as a number 1 for sure. So my final question before we wrap things up, you say you're a fan of the challenge. Who is your number 1 favorite from the MTV The Challenge?
Wow.
I'm a CT guy myself. I'm a CT and West. CT and West in Rivals, I think it was Rivals 2, is my favorite team of all time. But CT and West is my 2 favorites of all time. You're an MTV Challenge guy. Who's your favorite?
I do. I'm a big fan of West. I really like West. Although I'm not a big fan of Bananas, so I'm not. I'm
with you there. I hate Bananas.
The West Bananas, I just think Bananas is a really insecure person. And it's just like anytime anybody is somewhat threatening or somewhat challenging, he's got hate toward them. And that's like, I see enough of that in the wrestling business. Like there's a lot more Johnny Bananas in the wrestling business than anywhere. And it's just kind of corny. So I don't like West with him. If I was Wes, I would have just voted Bananas in and just gotten Bananas out there because Jay would have beat Bananas and then Bananas would have went home.
But it's a nice development that they're now teaming together because it's been so long. It's been almost a decade of their feud. So I actually got interested in this new season off the back of Bananas and Wes working together.
Yes. So I'm fine with that. So like I like Wes is I guess my all time because I always like his train of thought. I don't know about him in this season. I'm rooting for Jay because I really like Jay. I don't know why. I think Jay is just I don't know why people come at him. I think Jay like kind of tells it how it is, but he doesn't seem like he's the strongest. But then he beats CT and sends him home. And that's like the type of stuff that I'm about. Like if you put me in there with a lot of these guys, you're like oh, I don't know if Carter. These guys judge my wrestling ability and haven't even watched. It's just crazy. They just because they don't like me as a person, that automatically means I'm not a good wrestler, which it's crazy. And JJ was there for it. JJ was understanding. But it's like that's the way the business is. It's nasty. People really judge you based off of that. I'll go in there with anybody.
Ass mofos. These sensitive ass mofos. Oh my god.
Crying.
It's disgusting. It's
Crying.
disgusting. Like we are begging for true heels. We get a true heel, and then people become true bitches. Like it's remarkable. It's remarkable.
Why are you acting like you're surprised? This is what always happens, friend.
I gotta say it out loud for the people that can actually define when their inner gut sees a true heel talking to them, and that little inner bitch comes out, and they see somebody that's real and raw. And they're like, oh my God, we're the heels. That there's one right in front of us.
Right in front.
But we want to heel. But he needs to tone it down in certain areas. Like, what?
Dude, I gotta put my gear on every month, and it was just like every week or whatever. And I was just like, golly, man. Like people, I'm like, here it is right here. But I'm not gonna sit here and like, I'm not gonna shove it down your throat. But it's like, come on, man. Like. Wake up! Like there are no heels left. Oh, blah blah blah. I'm like, bro, man, you ain't watching wrestling. That's why you're not watching.
Pretty much, you hit it right on the nail on the head for sure.
So yes, that is all the questions that we had for Darius. That was a little bit of follow-up, a little bit of our ending before we wrap things up from Tru Heel Heat 70. Put your comments down below. Tell us what you thought about our little interview with Darius Carter. If you guys have any further questions for Darius Carter, you can also put that down in the comment section below. Tell us what you thought about the interview. If you want to follow Darius, he's at Mr. Darius Carter on Twitter, on Instagram, and Darius Carter on Facebook. So follow him. Support your local and favorite independent wrestlers just like Darius Carter. Push the like button if you enjoyed this video. Push the subscribe button and push the bell to stay notified for all the great content right here on Tru Heel Heat. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. This has been Tru Heel's BTR interview with the one and only, the All Father Darius Carter. Until next time.